Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. Thank you for joining me on my yarny journey to talk about everything that I am working on at this time. I am Beth, and I hail from the north suburbs of Chicago, and the information to contact me is up here. And if you're interested in following me on Instagram, please head on over there and follow. And I most likely will follow you back unless you seem like you're some single doctor who loves to love and everything is beautiful and something that's clearly not originally in English. And then I'm blocking you. So, anyhow, today I will be talking about a finished object. I also have a new prompt for the next Queen Sandy bag, and I have some works in progress and a little bit of new to me. So please follow along and let's dive right into it. Today I am wearing my Friend to Friend by Leslie Friend, and this is a pattern that I made considering the possibility of giving it as a gift for this holiday season, perhaps to a coworker. I'm not entirely sure. And speaking of coworkers, I gotta tell this story. Okay, so I will tell the details about this. Let me tell the details about this first. This I modified it. I added the turtleneck. I did decrease stitches more here. I believe all the details about it are on my Ravelry page, so I will link that below. As opposed to the link going directly to the pattern page, I will have the link go to my project page, which will then, of course, have a link to the pattern page. So if you're interested in the pattern, that's how you can find it. Or you can just search on Ravelry. Anyhow, I made it with the recommended yarn, which is Hue and Me yarn by Lion Brand, and it is in the colorway Magic Hour, which I feel is sort of like a denim blue. I did do a twirl in it earlier, so I will go ahead and insert that here so you can see it. And I really like the fit of this. It feels so nice and warm. I think it would be fun to do some added different details on it. You could add a cable to the front, or, I've seen her do stripes, embroidery, different kinds of things. But a fun, easy knit. It goes really fast because it's in chunky yarn. A great holiday possibility for anyone and very affordable. I don't remember how much the yarn was, but very affordable. So as far as a coworker thing is concerned, this week, yesterday as a matter of fact, I was sitting in the classroom with my student, and the audiologist came in and she said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to a new audiologist we have here." And so she starts like saying the different, like introducing the different people in the classroom. They stood at the doorway and I was sitting in a chair with my back facing, but I turned around to look at her, and I kept noticing that the new person was looking directly at me, and I no longer even remember her name. It was that, one of those that went by really quick. And I was like, oh yeah, I probably should have paid attention to her name. But the thing that stands out to me is that once the audiologist introduced her to each of the adults in the room, she turns to me and she says, "Are you a knitter?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I recognize your campsite cardigan." And I was like, "Oh, okay. She's really a knitter." So yeah, I thought, okay, we need to talk. So I have not yet had an opportunity to talk to her, but you know, anybody who recognizes a sweater just by seeing it on someone, I know she's got to know a thing or two about knitting. So I was excited about that. I can't wait to talk to her more. And hopefully next week I get to see her some more and we can chat knitwear. And she was wearing a cardigan herself. It wasn't a pattern I recognized, but I only saw the front of it, and it had pockets, but I could tell it was a hand knit sweater. So I was like, ooh, we are definitely on the same page there. So, on to whips. So this week, or these last couple of weeks, I have been working on my Letho cardigan. This is a pattern by Natasha Hornby, and I talked about it last week. I had only had the cuff of one sleeve, and I now have both sleeves completed. So that's the good news. So here are my two sleeves. So I'll give you a little close-up of the details around the cuff, which this is really kind of fun. I continue my purple and green theme, but the nice thing about this is that because it's cuff up, I was able to get the right sizing for myself before finishing the sleeve. I think if I had done it, if it was shoulder down, I think I might not have realized how big the cuff was going to be. Even though you see it in the pictures and it shows how big around it is, I might not have realized how unhappy I would have been with it prior to actually doing it. And the way I did this cuff up, it would have taken a lot of undoing to get it to what I wanted. And I think I probably would not have undone it and redone it had it been the other way around. So I'm glad that this was cuff up so that I caught early what I wanted. So this has been put on hold because I cannot find a US 8 40-inch needle in my house. And I know that I have one because I have this. So I had to put on the glasses to make sure it was focusing. But I do not know where that needle is. I have looked through every project bag I have. I don't know where this thing could have gone. I'm sure I have it somewhere, or else Shannon took it. That's always a possibility. Shannon is my daughter, who's also a knitter, and who knows, maybe I said, hey, yeah, I'm not using a size 8. You can go ahead and have that. Use that for now. So I may have been anticipating her bringing it back to me. But details on the yarn, you guys, I almost forgot that. This is Universal Yarn. It is their Deluxe Worsted Tweed, and colorways will be listed below. So this I like because it is a machine washable yarn. It'll be nice to have that as something that I wear to work, because I feel like a lot of times I would like to wash my sweaters that I wear to work more often, but I don't because they're hand wash, and that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy. So my next whip, this is the there and back again slipper, and my computer turned off, so oh, there we go. Okay. The There and Back Again Slippers by Tania Barley. I was going to say Barkley, but it's Barley, unless I typed it wrong. So this is the first one I did. I showed this on a previous episode. This is a Lion brand yarn called Nap Time. And it just has a very kind of cheap feel to it. I'm not thrilled with it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So I'm thinking I've made these the same size. So here's the new one that I'm working on. This yarn is Lion brand Re-Tweed, and it is a wool polyester acrylic blend, I think. And this is much sturdier. Like this one feels light and airy. This one feels sturdy, solid, and very tightly knit. So if you like thick slippers, this is a good pattern for this yarn. And very affordable. I looked at the Lion Brand website this morning, and regular price for this yarn is $6.99 a ball. And you can definitely get 2 slippers out of this ball. So highly recommend. I believe this is going to turn out well. I'm kind of excited about it now because I really like the feel of this slipper. At first I thought, ooh, is this too tight? You know, because I'm using a US 2.5 on like a worsted or Aran weight yarn. This is a really thick yarn for the size of the needle, but I think that was the intention, is that you use a thicker yarn and a smaller needle in order to get a good solid slipper. So really liking this. My last whip is one that was not at all on my radar, but a friend of mine who I was supposed to go to dinner with tonight, but we ended up having to reschedule. She had said to me, how much would you want for making this for me? And I was like, for the price of the yarn, I'll do it. So and the pattern. Because what happened is she sent me a picture. And so I thought, okay, if there's no pattern, I'm not making it. I'm not going to attempt to create the pattern and make it. So what I said is, for the price of the yarn and the pattern, I'll make it for you. So I know that's sort of a no-no in general. Like, most people are like, yeah, no amount of money is going to get me to make this for you. But being crochet, I figured it would be easy enough to do this. So this is called the Perfect Pockets Shawl. And it says, Knot Yourself Out Crochet Pattern by Sonja Hood. So I believe like her online name is Knot Yourself Out Crochet. The recommended yarn is this Lion brand Heartland, also very affordable. And my friend said that she wanted it done in turquoise and white. So she went on the Lion brand website, she ordered the yarn, had it shipped straight to me. And this is as far as I've gotten in it. What I would say about this is that if you are new to crochet, this is probably not a pattern you want to do, because you chain a really long chain. So basically you're doing the length of the scarf, and then you start from there and you crochet it the width of it. And then you add the pockets on afterwards, as well as the fringe. So it's a little frustrating to start, but now that I've gotten it started, I kind of expect it to go pretty quickly. So at first I was thinking, ooh, maybe I can even get this done before we get together. But I'm glad I wasn't trying to pressure myself to do that, because I have other things I'd rather work on right now. So now our next date that we're planning to get together is kind of far off in the future. So we're planning for after the holidays, because this time of year gets really messy. It's hard to figure out how to plan everything around the holidays and stuff like that. So we are going to postpone it until after the holidays. And therefore, it should be easy to get that done for her in time, because quick crochet project. Anyhow, that's all my whips. The Lion Brand Heartland yarn is the only new to me thing. And I guess on to comments. So let's get into it. Okay, before I get into comments, I want to mention, I meant to mention, as I was talking about the Letho cardigan and my issues with the needles and everything like that, I was thinking that a good hashtag for the Queen Sandy prompt would be needles. So use hashtag needles in the comments below in order to be entered for the Queen Sandy bag giveaway on this episode. So your prompt is to tell me, how do you get your needles? Do you order them online somewhere? Do you go to your local yarn shop? Do you prefer Xiaogu or some other brand? My preferred go-to is these Xiaogu long needles. I prefer the long ones. I magic loop just about everything. And so I'm curious, what do you guys do? Is there a good online yarn shop or online needle shop that you prefer, that maybe something that I also opt for? When I think I forgot to mention that I did order some from an Etsy shop. So that's why I wanted to talk about that as my Queen Sandy prompt. Anywho. Oh yeah, I'm done with whips. Got lost. Anyhow, I was on to comments. So most of the comments from last episode centered around the Joji Locatelli La Prairie cardigan that I am working on. And it's funny, the first time I started reading the comments again after the fact was this morning. Like initially when they come in, I try to get them as they come in and reply to them, because it's easier to reply one at a time than it is to like sit down and just start like replying to one after the other. So I had forgotten altogether that I was working on that La Prairie cardigan, because I haven't touched it since that last episode. I haven't had the headspace to even look at it, because life has been sort of hectic, and I entirely take my own responsibility for that, because I am allowing myself to get in my head over what's going on at work, and I need to just get out of my own way. So let's get on to the comments. First comment, I think this is the only one that is not about that sweater. Lynn of Chicken Lady Fiber Arts says, I was Medusa one year for our dress-up day. We were studying the Greek myths, and some of the students were also characters. So much fun putting the rubber snakes in my hair. And the reason we were talking about snakes is because I had been dressed up as a snake lady in the Halloween party at school. We had a little haunted hallway. And it was a lot of fun. it was a lot of fun. I will do it again next year if I have the opportunity. So I had also, at one point in the discussion, there was a possibility that they wanted me to be Medusa and do the snake hair thing. And I was kind of mulling it over, and I looked up some things online trying to figure out, do I want to do this? Is this going to be too hard or what? But I do think it would be a lot of fun to put snakes in your hair. I'm curious to see what that would turn out like. So if you haven't seen the last episode, go back and take a look. You'll see my makeup and everything, and it was a lot of fun. But Wendy says, I like to add short rows, but certainly am no expert. I, like you, do tend to do modifications. Mine are usually to simplify things. Yep. So I don't know that I simplify things. I think I more likely modify things not to simplify, but to get a fit that I like. So that's where I'm at with modifications. Selfish Knitter Colleen says, the One Wild Knitting podcast channel has some great videos about modifying sweaters for better fit, including shoulder shaping and bust darts. Maybe they have covered something that will give you an idea. Episodes 3 and 18 might be your best bets. I love that you are willing to stop and think about potential fit issues and rip back when necessary to make sure you get something you will want to wear. Yeah, it's just that like every project I have is at that point. So, thank you, Colleen. I hope I feel like this year, this previous March, I did March to the finish because I didn't get around to finish it February. So I will likely do the same thing. In fact, who knows? Maybe I'll do finish it February and March to the finish, because I think I have that many projects that I stopped in the middle of because I got frustrated with them and I need to just keep pushing forward on them. I think the problem is I never want to take the time to think through the issues I'm dealing with. And I think it's interesting. That's how I am. That's a common theme in my life. Like when I am at a hiccup, rather than facing it head on and dealing with it, I push it to the side, thinking I'll deal with that later. I mean, any confrontation in my relationship I might have, and friendships and work and everything, I always want to postpone that. And I think that it gives me problems in life. Anybody else? Comment below. I know people who just fight constantly in their relationships. Like they're just bicker. And I feel like, how stressful is it to live like that? That's why I think I like to sort of push things off to the side, give them time, think about them, and deal with it when I feel like I've got a clearer head about it. So maybe that'll be in February. Maybe that'll be in March. I don't know. So Tara of Yarn Chicken and SH1T says, thanks so much for the Queen Sandy bag. Also, your snake makeup is on point. You're welcome, Tara. I hope you got it. I did ship that out and you should have it by now. I have not checked the shipping and tracked it, but I'm hoping you do have that, as well as Hazel. You should have the yarn that I sent. So please check back with me if you have not received it yet. Sharon says, I like your idea of doing the short rows on the shoulder. I would just do stockinette and let it be a design feature. You'll have a visible wedge, but the top of the shoulder is a good place for that. Or you can do it in garter stitch if the background of the stitch pattern is garter. That might be better. I agree, Sharon. I think, and it's reverse stockinette is what it is. That's what the background is reverse stockinette. And that might be a good idea, to have like all pearls showing. And then I think that would be a helpful thing to have there. The only reservation I have with that is, will I be able to meet the pattern up when I join for the body under the arms? So it's going to be one of those trial and error kind of things. Stephanie also mentioned Texas peach knits. She says, not a short row expert, but I envision them being appropriate right above the bust line. That way you get the nice inward curve at the neck before it straightens back out. So that makes sense to me, like right here. So I don't know, because like Stephanie, I am not a short row expert. And so I'm wondering, like, what are the positives and negatives of both of those? Because I feel like if I do short rows here and then come down to here and it doesn't match under the arms, then I'm going to be back at square one trying to figure out what to do. But also, if I come down to here and then do short rows, then I'm doing short rows within the pattern. And am I going to like that? Is that going to make things more complicated the rest of the way down? And I could end up doing that and not liking how that looks either, you know? So because I don't know anything about the territory that I'm headed into, I'm torn and pushing it aside and postponing that decision. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like I should become a hermit. I should just not go anywhere, do anything with anyone over the holidays. I should just spend that whole 2 weeks in my house, turn off the TV, turn on some holiday music, burn some candles, and knit my heart out and figure out all the hard things and decide what I want to do with my life. Oh, wouldn't that be lovely? Anybody out there doing that? Any recommendations? Help me out, guys. The other Stephanie Benson says, I have zero sweater design experience, but your logic of adding the short rows at the shoulder seems quite solid. But yes, maybe a bit sticky, as you say. Looking forward to hearing about this journey. Next year, Stephanie. Doris says, I'm making a new colorwork sweater and spending a lot of time tinking out because I messed up. There are 3 colors and a few rows where you use all 3 colors in one row. Not sure I'm up to the challenge. I feel you. I feel you, Doris. I mean, why can't knitting just be easy? Actually, I feel like if it was easy, I'd be bored. I tend to get bored really easily with the all stockinette things like this. It was nice because of the shaping. There wasn't a whole lot of just do it even all the way around. And it also has, let me see if I can show this. Where is it? It has like a little purl stitch for the side seam. Oh, am I wearing it crooked? Anyhow, the side seam right here, this is the faux seam. It's just a single purl stitch to give it that structure. And that kind of helps keep interest because you're not just knitting all the way around. And I like that. I like a little interest. Sometimes I like a lot of interest, sometimes just a little, because that's all the focus I've got. So I'm enjoying everything I'm making right now. There's a lot of in the there and back again slippers. There's a lot of twisted stitches and stuff, and a lot of new things. A lot. There's some new things, which I think I love when a designer comes up with something that I think, wow, I never would have thought about that. I never would have considered doing it that way. One thing in the construction of these there and back again slippers, you start right here on the heel. I may have mentioned that last time I talked about these. So you do a Judy's Magic cast on so that you're going both ways around here. So it's kind of like a toe up sock, but it's a heel out slipper. So I think that's very interesting. And then at the end you Kitchener the toe. But super fun. A lot of interest, and I am thoroughly enjoying that knit. So I like the texture and not a boring knit. So last comment. Did I read this? Kathy, inspired by fiber? No, I did not. Good luck with your sweater modifications. Have you checked Ravelry comments on those who have made it before you ripped out all that work? I did. Once I saw your comment, I did go back and look and see. It's hard to find comments that are geared toward what specifically you're looking for. So I looked, didn't find anything. And from Colleen's comment, I looked at the channel that she was talking about. And I think what I did is I took those 2 episodes and put them into a watch later list and have not yet watched those. So I'm glad I'm looking at this again and remembering I wanted to look at those. So hopefully I can get some good advice from them. So I didn't find anything that helped me with that on Ravelry. And Kathy goes on to say, the Ingrid sweater is beautiful. How about just knitting the top pattern all the way down? That is one thing I worried about if I made that sweater. By the way, I love it. The different stitches pulling in sections with superwash wool growing as you block and wear it. How will it look? Anyhow, yeah. I think it's a good idea to try to do something from the main pattern to give that cohesive look to the sleeves. And I think the way that the sleeves are, I think it's intended to match like across the sleeves from the main sweater pattern. And I think that's what I didn't particularly like. I happened to watch this morning Andrea Mowry's, what does she call her podcast? I'll Knit If I Want To. And she was talking about the Weekender and how it's a boxy sweater, but it has more fitted sleeves. And she was talking about how people like to do that, you know, you wear something that's looser and more gappy, and some people like to wear all over loose fitting, and others like to have a balance of, you know, some of it is looser, some of it is more fitted. And that's how the Weekender is that the sleeves are tighter and the body is looser. And I think that's what I'm looking for, is more of a, yes, the body of it is boxy, but the arms will be more fitted, and therefore that's the kind of look that I'm more attracted to. That's what I would prefer on my body. So we'll see where that goes. I have not touched that since the last episode because I have been busy working on those Letho sleeves and searching my house for a needle. So with all that said, that's all the comments. We were short on comments last week. I feel like I don't usually, I feel like I usually get more comments than that. And so with that being said, remember to use that hashtag needles in order to enter into the Queen Sandy Bag giveaway, and comment below with that. And I will be chatting with you in the comments. And until next time, keep surviving, keep thriving, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.